Did you know that the reason most people struggle financially isn't because they don't earn enough, but because they keep doing things that biblically guarantee poverty? And I'm not the one saying it. The Bible is. Because financial breakthrough didn't start in economics textbooks or money management seminars, it started in the Bible. And if you learn these 8 principles, your financial situation can change not by working harder or getting lucky, but by stopping the behaviors that Scripture identifies as direct pathways to poverty. The Bible doesn't just tell you what to do with money. It warns you specifically about what stops money from coming to you and staying with you. These aren't suggestions or good ideas. These are biblical warnings backed by thousands of years of proof that when you engage in these 8 behaviors, financial struggle becomes inevitable. In this video, I'll show you the 8 things you must stop doing immediately if you want money to flow into your life biblically. Stay until the end because the 8th behavior might be the exact thing that's been blocking your breakthrough without you even realizing it. 1. Stop spending before you plan. The first behavior you must eliminate immediately is spending money without a written plan or budget. Most people treat money like it manages itself. They earn, they spend, and they wonder why nothing remains. This is financial chaos disguised as freedom. In Proverbs 21:5, it says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." Notice the contrast. Plans lead to abundance. Haste leads to poverty. This isn't complicated. God doesn't bless financial disorder. He blesses intentional planning. When you spend without a plan, you're not exercising freedom, you're practicing foolishness. Every dollar that enters your hands has a biblical assignment, but if you don't plan where it goes before it arrives, it will vanish into expenses you can't even remember. Today, this means creating a written budget before the month begins. It means assigning every dollar a purpose before you touch it. It means deciding in advance what percentage goes to giving, saving, investing, and necessary expenses. It's not restriction, it's biblical stewardship. People who plan their money attract more money because God can trust them with increase. Stop the chaos, start the planning. 2. Stop co-signing and taking on other people's debt. The second behavior you must stop immediately is co-signing loans or guaranteeing other people's financial obligations. This sounds harsh and unloving, but the Bible is crystal clear and repeatedly warns against this specific behavior. In Proverbs 11:15, it says, "Whoever puts up security for a stranger will surely suffer harm, but he who hates striking hands in pledge is secure." The word surely means guaranteed, not maybe, not sometimes, but always. When you co-sign, you're not helping someone. You're putting your own financial future at risk for something you cannot control. God doesn't honor misplaced compassion that leads to bondage. He honors wisdom that protects stewardship. The person asking you to co-sign couldn't get the loan on their own for a reason. The bank, which is in the business of lending money, determined they were too risky. Yet somehow you think you know better than financial institutions designed to assess risk. That's not faith. That's foolishness. Many people are stuck in poverty today not because of their own mistakes, but because they co-signed for someone who defaulted, and now they're paying for someone else's car, education, or business while their own finances collapse. It's not about being mean or unloving. It's about protecting what God has entrusted to you so you can be available to help in ways that don't destroy your own foundation. Today, this means saying no when someone asks you to co-sign, even if they're family. It means offering help in other ways like teaching them budgeting, connecting them with resources, or even giving them money you can afford to lose if you choose. But never ever put your name on someone else's obligation. It's not biblical love, it's biblical foolishness. The Bible warns against it repeatedly because it leads to guaranteed financial suffering. 3. Stop being lazy and avoiding hard work. The third behavior you must eliminate is laziness and the refusal to work diligently at whatever is in front of you. This generation has confused working smart with avoiding work altogether, and the Bible destroys that delusion completely. In Proverbs 104, it says, "A slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich." Slack means lazy, careless, half-hearted effort. Poverty isn't always about circumstances. Sometimes it's about character. God doesn't reward laziness, He rewards diligence. There are people praying for financial breakthrough while refusing to show up on time, refusing to do excellent work, and refusing to go beyond minimum effort. That's not faith, that's presumption. Laziness is not just about not working. It's about working without excellence, working without consistency, and working without commitment. You want God to bless your finances, but you won't even give your employer your best 8 hours. You want increase, but you won't learn new skills or improve your value in the marketplace. Diligence means doing what needs to be done with excellence even when nobody's watching, even when you're not paid what you think you deserve, and even when the work isn't glamorous. Today, this means showing up with intensity and focus. It means finishing what you start. It means being the most reliable, most excellent, most committed person in your workplace or business. It's not about killing yourself with overwork. It's about bringing your best effort to whatever your hand finds to do. People who are diligent attract opportunities that lazy people never even see. Stop making excuses. Start working with excellence. 4. Stop withholding tithes and offerings from God. The fourth behavior you must stop immediately is robbing God by withholding your tithes and offerings. This is the most controversial point, but it's also the most financially transformative principle in Scripture. In Malachi 38:9, it says, "Will man rob God? Yet you are robbing me." But you say, "How have we robbed you? In your tithes and contributions. You are cursed with a curse, for you are robbing me, the whole nation of you." This isn't my opinion. This is God's direct statement. When you withhold the tithe, you're operating under a financial curse, and no amount of hard work or strategy can overcome a curse you're choosing to live under. God doesn't need your money, He's testing your trust. The tithe is 10% of your income that belongs to God first, not after bills, not after you see what's left, but first. Many people say they can't afford to tithe, but the truth is you can't afford not to tithe because without God's blessing, the 90% you keep will never be enough. When you tithe, you position yourself for supernatural provision, divine opportunities, and protection from the devourer. It's not magic, it's covenant. Tithing declares that God is your source, not your job, not your business, not your hustle. Today, this means giving the first 10% of every paycheck, every business profit, every financial increase to your local church before you pay a single bill. It means trusting God enough to obey even when it doesn't make natural sense. It means prioritizing your covenant with God over your comfort and fear. It's not about religion or rules. It's about positioning yourself under the open windows of heaven that God promises to those who honor Him with their finances. Stop robbing God. Start tithing faithfully. 5. Stop borrowing money for depreciating assets. The fifth behavior you must stop is borrowing money to purchase things that lose value. Most people are in debt not because they borrowed for investments, but because they financed lifestyles they couldn't afford. In Proverbs 20:7, it says, "The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is the slave of the lender." Debt makes you a slave. Every payment you owe is a piece of your future that you sold for something in your past. God doesn't bless financial bondage, He blesses financial freedom. When you borrow money for a car that loses value the moment you drive it off the lot, for furniture that depreciates, for vacations that create memories but not wealth, for clothes that go out of style, you're choosing slavery for the sake of immediate gratification. The Bible doesn't forbid all debt, but it warns against foolish debt, and foolish debt is any debt that doesn't produce more value than it costs. People stay broke not because they don't earn enough, but because they keep financing their lifestyle and paying interest on things that depreciate while never investing in assets that appreciate. Today, this means if you can't pay cash for it and it's not going to make you money or appreciate in value, you don't buy it. It means driving the paid-off car longer, living in the smaller house, wearing last season's clothes, and refusing to look rich while actually being broke. It's not about being cheap, it's about being wise. Debt is a financial prison that most people walk into voluntarily. Stop borrowing for things that lose value. Start living within your means. 6. Stop associating with people who have no financial vision. The sixth behavior you must eliminate is spending your time with people who have no financial discipline, no vision, and no desire to prosper biblically. Your associations determine your financial destination more than your education. In Proverbs 130:20, it says, "Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm." Notice it doesn't say might suffer harm. It says will suffer harm. This is a guaranteed outcome. God doesn't bless foolish associations. He blesses strategic relationships. When you surround yourself with people who are broke and content to stay broke, who mock financial responsibility, who encourage you to spend money you don't have, and who have no plan for their future, you will adopt their mindset and their outcomes. This isn't about being arrogant or thinking you're better than anyone. This is about recognizing that you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. If those 5 people are financially irresponsible, biblically ignorant about money, and living paycheck to paycheck with no intention to change, you will not rise above that standard no matter how hard you work. Your circle either lifts you toward prosperity or drags you toward poverty. There is no neutral ground. Today, this means evaluating your friendships honestly and adjusting your time accordingly. It means spending less time with people who drain your vision and more time with people who sharpen your wisdom. It means seeking mentors, joining communities of people who are where you want to be financially, and refusing to let toxic relationships sabotage your financial future. It's not about abandoning people. It's about protecting your destiny. You can love people from a distance without letting them influence your decisions. Stop walking with financial fools. Start surrounding yourself with the wise. 7. Stop ignoring small amounts of money. The 7th behavior you must stop is despising small amounts and ignoring the little things financially. Most people are waiting for the big breakthrough while wasting small opportunities daily. In Luke 16:10, it says, "One who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much, and one who is dishonest in a very little is also dishonest in much." Small money is a test for big money. If you can't manage $10, God won't trust you with 10,000. God doesn't reward carelessness with small things, He rewards faithfulness. People throw away loose change, overspend by small amounts daily without tracking it, ignore fees that seem insignificant, and waste money on things that cost little individually but add up to hundreds monthly. Then they wonder why they never have enough. The problem isn't your income. The problem is your stewardship of what you already have. $1 wasted every day is $365 a year. $5 wasted daily is over $1,800 annually. These small leaks sink financial ships. Today, this means tracking every dollar, even the small ones. It means picking up the change, canceling subscriptions you don't use, avoiding unnecessary fees, and being faithful with the little before asking God for more. It means respecting money at every level because money is a tool that deserves honor regardless of amount. People who are faithful with little attract much because God can trust them not to waste what He provides. Stop despising small amounts. Start stewarding everything faithfully. If this message is blessing you, subscribe to the channel Biblical Finances and tell me in the comments which of these 8 behaviors you're committing to stop immediately. These 7 behaviors: spending without planning, co-signing debt, practicing laziness, withholding teeth as borrowing for depreciating assets, keeping foolish associations, and despising small amounts, have kept more people in poverty than lack of opportunity ever could. They're not about circumstances, they're about choices, and every single one of them is within your power to stop today. But there's one more behavior, the 8th and perhaps most dangerous of all, that we need to address. This one is so subtle that most people don't even recognize they're doing it, yet it's blocking their financial breakthrough more than anything else on this list. 8. Stop believing you can prosper without God's wisdom and blessing. And the 8th behavior, the most serious and most foundational of all, is trying to build wealth without acknowledging God as your source and following His financial principles. This is the root issue behind all the others. Many people want the blessing without the relationship, the prosperity without the obedience, the increase without the surrender. In Deuteronomy 80:18, it says, "You shall remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you power to get wealth, not your job, not your hustle, not your intelligence or connections. God gives the power to create wealth." God doesn't bless independence from Him, He blesses dependence on Him. When you operate your finances as if you're the source, as if your strategies are what produces results, as if God is optional in your money decisions, you cut yourself off from the supernatural provision, wisdom, and protection that only He can provide. You can follow every financial principle, budget perfectly, work diligently, avoid debt, and still struggle if you're not walking in covenant relationship with the God who controls every resource. Today, this means starting your financial journey with prayer, not planning. It means seeking God's wisdom before making major money decisions. It means recognizing that every dollar you earn came from His hand and belongs ultimately to Him. It's not about religion or rituals. It's about relationship and surrender. Stop trying to build wealth without God. Start acknowledging Him as your source. So ask yourself today, which of these 8 behaviors are you still engaging in that's blocking your financial breakthrough? One person stops spending without planning and finally has money left over. Another continues living in financial chaos and wonders why nothing ever changes. One person stops co-signing and protects their future. Another keeps rescuing others and ends up needing rescue themselves. One person eliminates laziness and attracts opportunities. Another stays stuck in mediocrity wondering why they're overlooked. The difference isn't luck or circumstances. It's obedience to biblical financial principles. God doesn't want to see you living in financial bondage, struggling paycheck to paycheck, drowning in debt, or never experiencing the abundance He designed for those who follow His ways. He wants to see you prospering biblically, walking in financial freedom, building generational wealth, and becoming a conduit of His blessing to others. Stop spending before planning. Stop co-signing debt. Stop being lazy. Stop robbing God. Stop borrowing foolishly. Stop walking with fools. Stop comparing and pretending. Stop operating without God. Don't wait for perfect conditions or more income. Start today by eliminating one of these 8 behaviors and watch how God begins to shift your financial reality, not by your power or might, but by His Spirit working through your obedience. If this video helped you identify what's been blocking your financial breakthrough, subscribe to the channel Biblical Finances and turn on the notification bell to receive more teachings on biblical wisdom applied to your finances.